I'm very excited to bring you this conversation with Lewis and Nicole Williams. They are two powerhouses in this industry and in this town. Both have been doing this for over 15 years, and they run a very high-performing team. I think it's great that people are going to get to know them better through this conversation because Courtney and I really enjoy having high-level conversations with great people like Lewis and Nicole. Welcome back. Me and Courtney are here talking to two great friends and real estate agents, Nicole and Lewis Williams from the Williams team. And in this segment, we talk with them about who they are so we can promote who they are as business owners, but also like to talk about some intentional things within your business to help you either recruit, promote, or just showcase y'all's talent. So really excited y'all came on today.
Cool. Thanks for inviting us. We're excited.
Yep.
Not our first rodeo in front of these cameras.
Yeah, that's right. You've been here before. So let's get started first to talk about who you are. And I think y'all have a really interesting story. I've been around you guys for a long time. My brother was on the team with you guys. Still thinks of Nicole as like a big sister. I won't say a mom because I feel like y'all are, definitely thinks of you as a big sister, and he appreciates everything that you poured into him. And same with Lewis, giving him his first opportunity in real estate, which he's still doing today in Baton Rouge. So, Lewis, why don't you talk a little bit about how you got into the real estate business after your football career?
Yeah, some people know as a professional athlete. I played at LSU, then I played about 6 or 7 years of pro football. As that was starting to wind down, I got my real estate license in 2005, August of 2005, right around Hurricane Katrina.
Ideal time.
Yeah, right. It was sort of, everything sort of came together for me. But unfortunately, I went to Kansas City that year and played several weeks, almost a month or so. But I quickly realized my time was limited. They ended up cutting me, and I came back, and I've been selling real estate now for almost 2 decades.
Nice, cool.
So I was a solo agent for a number of years, trying to learn the entire business. I quickly realized that I needed to put some people around me and leverage myself so we could close a little bit more business. And by 2012, I stepped out and formed a team. And Nicole and I have been together pretty much ever since then, building this real estate empire, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So we've been doing it consistently as a team, producing several hundred units a year in production, coaching, training, motivating agents on our team, and we're doing a real a serious business, not just a practice anymore. Sure. And we've been building it, I guess, for 10, 12 years now.
I think it's important too for people to know that you're from here, right?
No,
you're from Florida.
Neither one of us are from here.
That's right. That's right.
She's a Canadian, and I'm from Florida.
There you go. But y'all both come here and made a pretty big impact, and not just in the real estate world. Nicole, you have another business that you operate too, right? So tell us a little bit about your business.
Yoga studio. So I started real estate just to have something to do because my ex-husband at the time traveled a lot for work, so I had to be available for Ryan. We didn't have any family here, so it was like, how do I get to know my area the best? Well, real estate would expose me to the most, so I just started for that. And then I quickly realized, well, I might be good at this, and so I started to focus more on like the studying part of it and just getting better at sales. Because then I also didn't know that real estate was sales. I just thought, So that was like a light bulb. So I did that, and I got good at it, and we teamed up, started working, on the team. But also my other partner, Elizabeth, I also loved doing yoga, and I think there was one yoga studio in Mandeville.
There's still one yoga studio in Mandeville?
No, not anymore.
Like one good one. No, there's a few.
What was the name of it? Bayou Yoga?
It's Bayou Yoga. So we went to one studio. She was actually shutting down her studio, where it sort of worked out. I didn't really know Elizabeth. We met taking yoga classes, and we weren't really even friends. So we were business partners first, and then a friendship came from building it together.
It's usually
the other way around.
Yeah, it's usually okay. Keep going.
Yeah. So we built the studio doing. We would like sublet from. Because it was Mandeville real estate is really expensive, so we had no money, no students, so we would sublet from Jazzercise Studios where we started, and the only time slot they had was like a 7:15 p.m. because she had her classes, so we started the 7:15 p.m. and at the time it wasn't social media or anything, so we were just word of mouth, and I would be there with her classes, and so we had like 4 students I think, and then we just kind of kept moving around, and nobody had. When you're just subletting an hour space, they don't really take you seriously. So we just went like, all right, if we build it, they will come. Let's go balls to the wall. We have 1 year. We've got a lease for 1 year. We're going to try it. If it works out, we'll keep going. And then it just, 10 students and then 30. And then it just kind of kept growing. And then
now
the
you
studio
see BY stickers on the back of
all
half
over
the
the
cars.
place.
I was in Baton Rouge the other day and I saw a BY sticker on the back of somebody's car, which I was pretty proud of.
That makes my heart happy.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
That's great.
This is a long long journey
You
with
all just
that.
had what, 9 or 10, well, more than 9 years at the location.
It's 12 years total we start, but we really count the time from when we got the actual lease, like when we started the business and formed an actual business plan and all that.
So, and then one more thing, you are a college graduate as of
Last month.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
That
Yeah,
was like
so
a
you got-
lifelong.
degree in what?
Psychology.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What sent you in that direction?
I've been obsessed with psychology since, so like, people would read love stories and stuff growing up. I would read psychology books because I don't know why. I just enjoyed learning about the brain. And then I wanted to go to school forever, but then I had Ryan and I couldn't, and money was tight. Like, it was just always like life would not let me do it. And then COVID happened, and it was this, Elizabeth, actually, we were having lunch, like, why don't you just go back to school? Because I was having like existential crisis again. Ryan's going off to college. What am I going to do? Like, I can't believe
Seasons
I'm
of life.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's so empty. And she's like, why don't you just go back to school? They were doing everything virtually at the time. And that was perfect. So I started virtually, and then they took away virtual. And then it was like, I was on campus with 20-year-olds, and then it was awful. But, it is.
So, okay, so question for you. Obviously, there's a magnet there with you in psychology. How does that blend over into your real estate world? Because psychology is life, right?
So it started, psychology was life. And then the yoga, I don't know if people, like a lot of people know, the mind-body connection, it is the psychology that happens, and how your brain, you can rewire
Getting
it
more in
with
tune with
movement.
yourself.
Yeah, accessing the brain through the body, those things. And so that was always the connection. And the idea was also that I would take psychology and do some sort of practice that would tie yoga into it. I didn't really think about it with real estate. But then I got DISC certified. Like, I got all these certifications that were all about personality and psychology. And anytime we'd hire agents, it was very important to know how they thought, how they function, what clicked, how they, the patterns of thinking. And mindset was huge with Keller Williams. And so everything was kind of like tied in. So when I thought about going to school, I was like, well, it's going to make sense for everything across the board, because sales is mindset, is psychology, is yoga, is, all of it.
It can be powerful. I actually have a student who is a economic psychologist, which is a very niche base.
Yeah, you think?
And she works for, right now she's currently with, I think, Fidelity, and teaching them, why do people buy the way they do?
Right.
Why do they invest the way they do? What gets them to pull the trigger? What makes them pull back?
All psychology.
It's all psychology. And literally, every time I go to Tampa, we spend time together, and I am just like blown away by that concept. But yet, the bigger firms understand it. Like, they understand we need you to train our salespeople so they can understand their clients and help themselves.
It's algorithm. It's like human algorithm. They train you how to, And it's also helpful for, like, even my clients, helping them understand when I know how, and not like a salesy part, but real estate is really emotional for them on their end of it. So understanding what they're going through and how I present myself and how I can show up for them to get them through it. It was big.
But the word that I kept
dissecting it.
thinking was empathy, right? I mean, does understanding that part of it give you more empathy when you're dealing with people? Yeah, I'm sure.
Because you can then remove it and be like, oh, they're just, it's like not I'm not diagnosing, but I'm like, oh, I understand what they're going through. So then I just have to address the actual fear, the issue. It's always, are you scared? Are you mad? Like, what is it? It's the basis of everything is those two emotions. And so
So then you're problem solving for those.
They're fearful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Voss calls it tactical empathy, right? Like, and so you're just problem solving, like what?
You just connect the dots to back and then
How
if you
can I
can bring
help?
it back to the humanity, the humanness of them all is all it is. Because it's easy to pull away from that and go like, oh, they're just being jerks or they're being stuck, whatever it is. But the humanness of it all is the fear behind this huge decision, and then like doubt and all the stuff that creeps in.
And a lot of people, they think we're in the house business, but we really aren't.
We're not.
We're in the people business, and so that's a huge part. And so obviously with you guys' time, in this business, you've learned the real estate side, it's not complicated, but it's not easy. It's not complicated. There's not rocket science. It's the people part that's really what you have to overcome.
That is
That's
definitely the
where the rubber hits the road.
communication, the psychology, the language of sales, and understanding your customers' wants, needs, and concerns are where you connect with them. And if you can connect with them, earn their trust, and they know you have your back, that's how you can move them to their goals.
So let me ask you this. So I don't want to get into marketing yet, but when you talk about that, my first reaction is you have to be able to relate to people and ask the right questions. But I know you're a huge script guy.
Yeah.
And I think people have a disconnect with scripts. They think that you like are a robot saying the same thing over and over again, but you have to be able to adapt to the conversation, right? Like be able to ask the right question. So like, how do you use the scripts personally, but also how do you teach your agency?
Well, when I teach them, memorize, internalize, and capitalize. The key in sales is capitalizing on the conversations that you're having with them and delivering it in a way that they can understand it and move forward with their goals. You're not manipulating them in any way. That's why you better trust who the heck your salesperson is, so you know you have them on your side, because human nature is human nature. You can get people to move and do things that they don't necessarily want to do if you know their brain well enough. So that's the big connection there, to make sure you trust the person. They have that customer's best interest at heart every step of the way.
So, but like, is your script based on you telling somebody something or asking the right questions?
A little bit of both. You're not usually telling anything. You're usually asking questions, so they self-discover the direction they want to go to off of the decisions or goals that they have told us from the beginning.
Yeah.
So they're finding their own way. You're just holding their hand through question asking and getting their emotions to be in check throughout that process.
A lot of my views on it is just conversation leadership. That's all it is. I'm leading the conversation toward a certain direction, and that decision may be that today's not the right day, and let's work on a timeline of working toward this goal. Or it's getting them to make a yes or no decision, or what. But it's like literally the questions, the scripts, things like that, just guiding them. Because a lot of time, otherwise, you guys know, like with attention spans and like squirrel, whatever, people, I mean, conversation go 100 ways, but hey, someone has to take charge. And it can either be us or someone else, right? If we're not leading the conversation, we may be then following someone else's leadership in the conversation, right? Which is fine, but it's one of those things there where you can lead people along and say, hey, let's work on this journey to say, hey, is this, for example, the right fit? Is now the right time for you to buy a house? Is now, let's talk about the type of house that you'd want to buy, or, now is now the right time for you to sell? Like whatever the conversation goal is, scripts and stuff can enhance it. Yeah. But you got to have a clear direction you're trying to go in.
But when you're using scripts and dialogues, I think people are very surprised when they hear me prospecting like I do on a daily. I was doing it this morning, 8 a.m. on the phones. They don't think I'm using scripts because I've internalized them to the point where I can interchange conversation pieces because I'm asking powerful questions to move the conversation forward to some end goal, an appointment, buy a house, list the property with whatever that is. Now, there is language of sales and directives in the conversations, but it doesn't sound like I'm a robot when I'm talking. It's just like I'm talking to the two of y'all right now. Which is,
I think, what people misconception. Like,
at first, it does sound robotic.
Yeah, a young agent will listen and they'll be like, well, I'm not going to do a script. That's not natural for me. But like, no, you're just teaching yourself to where it's so ingrained in your brain that you know how to lead the conversation in the right direction.
It's in any industry. You're going to have the type of dialogue you have to have with the people. But I think scripting, what it does is it helps you. So you have your scripts and your skill set that have to be mastered so that you can clear the clutter of what they're throwing at you, so that, because they're having a million things going on, and you need to like narrow the focus back to like, okay, tell me what your point Z is going to, like, what is your end game? And then I will know how to get you there if you allow me to like ask you the right questions and to navigate it correctly. So you're not manipulating, you're just helping them keep the clutter at bay by understanding them. And if you have to think about what you're saying every time and you're changing how you're talking every time, that never happens. So the scripts help you stay on point to get them to,
So how long have you been an agent for? What, 10 years now?
16.
16. Oh, you've been 16 years. Okay, I didn't realize it was that long. So as a 20 years, 16 years, like how has that kind of changed over the years of just practice or different training tools?
It's not a script anymore. Like when I find somebody that wants to buy a house, I don't go, okay, let me ask them about the appointment. I'm just now not even worried about messing up what I'm going to say and how I'm going to help them, because I know if they say, well, I don't know what to do with like the lender part, then I know my script or what I'm supposed to say is this, that helps them get to the right point. So I'm not misdiagnosing or messing up how I'm communicating to them and helping them understand. Just like when I go to a doctor, if they throw something at me, I'm like, whoa, what did you just say? There's a way they have to deliver information to you, and that's practiced, which is a script. So I think if we change the word script, maybe
repetition. It's repetition.
It's a delivery. It's a way of speaking to people. There's a science behind it, and it's the way people receive information.
And there's much less talking and much more listening and responding and directing the conversation. It's not me barking orders at somebody to get them to do something they don't want to do.
Yeah.
It's helping them self-discover a direction they want to go off of what they've told me their goals are,
Yeah.
and then building rapport throughout the process to get them to their goals.
Yeah.
So as a team, right? And how much of this are y'all imparting on your agents? Y'all have a team of agents at this point. So I know that Lewis does this at a super high level. You've been doing this for a long time. You do it really well. Communicating this to your agents that work on your team. How do y'all do that? What's y'all's process like for that?
I'm pretty straightforward. I tell people from the jump, the day they join our team, there's 3 things that you got to rock out. You got to rock out your schedule. You got to follow a time block schedule for the rest of your career. You've heard me say this before. Scripts and dialogues. If I can lock you in a room for 30 days and all you do is your scripts and dialogues in the language of sales at a high level, you're going to be better than 95% of realtors available, and you're going to have to work hard. Those 3 things line up. You said real estate is simple. It's not easy, but it is a simple business. It's all those 3 things lining up at a high level to elevate your production to the point you can create the life that you want through the income that you can make.
You can't get to the empathy part with people if you're worried about what you
What
have
you're
to
gonna
say and
say.
how you're going to say it, and you're thinking about you. Like, that has to be diffused in the beginning. You have to understand what your role is for them, and then you can help them. But if you're constantly thinking and rethinking
Yeah.
and worrying and misspeaking, you can't help them.
Well, and I would presume the power of having a team is that you can role play and you
All
can get the
the time.
repetition in
I
there.
did it this morning with some of my
Because
agents.
if you're solo, I mean, who you can role play with? The wall? I mean, I don't know.
could,
I'm,
Amir.
I'm
You
sure AI, you can role play with AI at some point, right? But the concept is, when does it not become a script? It's when it's internalized through repetition. It's muscle memory. Now I'm not. It's like, hey, I know these are the high points, and we're working in this direction, and that's from the muscle memory.
Yeah.
Of repetition.
So before we transition to the next segment, how do y'all help your agents accomplish what they want to accomplish? We had a mastermind last month, and I really like what you had to say about helping your agents accomplish their goals. So y'all take that conversation and tell us
You want to
how
go a
you
little
feel
bit
about
into
that.
business planning and how we connect with our agents.
Yeah, I think we were a little bit surprised that we did so much with the business planning that other people did. We're like, dude, are we overthinking this? Like, maybe we should back off a little. But it just gives you clarity. Again, like, you can't get to where you're, and it's like one time we go really deep in, and then you know where you're going, and then you do the little things every day that are going to get you there. So if every day you do what you're supposed to do, then eventually it should naturally get you to where you're going. And if you deviate 2 days a week, then you know it's going to be hard. 5 days a week, you're in trouble. Like, those kind of things. So it's like the bumper rails.
Yeah.
And so they need to tell us what they want. And then we figured out, I guess maybe more me as I'm getting more into like, hey, if we don't get them to emotionally connect to what they're doing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Because real estate is hard. Right now, it's been the hardest. It's since 1995.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So it takes a beating, and it's terrifying when you're the breadwinner at home and you can't pull it, and you got to show up every day. It's an etch a sketch. It's an etch a sketch kind of job. You got to show up today, do it. Whatever you did yesterday may not matter because you just got to go again, and it's really hard. It's not like just going to an office. So you have to pull deep from within to show up every day. And so getting them, so he does a lot of like the sales stuff. I do operation stuff so that, which together it ends up, they know their job. Like, I can teach them how to do the real estate contract part of it, and he does all the sales part and the mindset and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So we meet with them once a week, and we do 30 minutes, like, what's going on with your business? We just talk to them and just talking it out. And then they have access to us all the time with whatever questions come up. And we do team meetings every week. We do power-ups. He does the power-ups, 70-45, a little bit of training. So it's like constantly keeping them in real estate talk, so that they're constantly surrounded by it, because that's the only way you can get good at something.
But that's also huge because you grow into the conversations you're around.
Exactly.
And some people take it back to running, right? You can go get out here and we can all start running, but if we were to run together, there's just something about that group dynamic that people
And then
flourish.
imagine we would sit in the morning and talk about how we're going to run and how far we're going to go and what that looks like and what shoes hurt and that didn't work out and how about you do this. And then after month 3, you're like, oh, okay. And then we just have a rhythm, and then we just, so it's
We
that.
certainly follow a business rhythm, and there's everything that people are accountable to show up to. There's energy that's formed throughout the team, and everybody's pushing towards a goal collectively together to achieve those.
Something you said at the mastermind that really stuck to me, though, and I think both of y'all have realized this as you've managed agents, is that when you can't give an agent a goal, you have to understand what their goals are, and then help them accomplish that through your organization, right? So talk about that realization.
Well, we have a business plan as a team, and Nicole and I know what our business objectives is, and we hire to those objectives. But we let our agents choose their goal. If they want to do 10 sales a year, 20 sales a year, 50 sales a year. We customize a business plan towards those objectives, and then we tie the emotion down to why they're actually doing it every day.
Yeah.
But a long time ago, when I first started this thing, I would tell my agent, you're going to do this many deals, you're going to do this many deals, you're going to do this many deals, and we're going to finish up with this many deals. And that wasn't too effective. I quickly figured that out. And with Nicole's help and guidance, we started hiring to the big team's goals.
Yeah.
So I have no problem having an agent that wants to do a deal a month. That's great.
Yeah.
And if that hits your goals and wonderful, and you're a great cultural fit for our team, you can be a part of our organization.
Yeah.
We don't have this necessarily team standard where you have to close 2 units a month or whatever that may be. I felt that there was some negative side effects to that. So since then, we've gone more of the path. If you're a cultural fit and you're bought in 100% and you follow our rhythms and you're accountable and you want to improve yourself and grow with the team, you can be a part of our organization.
That's huge.
I think that's powerful. I know for me personally, clarity was a life hack, and I feel like I don't even know what the number is, but 95+% people are so unclear on what they want. It's like they're so vague and fuzzy. Like they're like, I want in the general direction, right? But because they're not clear, there's so much that like the conversation, right, gets cluttered. A lot of their, they're so pulled towards so many things because they're not clear, and so they don't know what to say no to, what to say yes to. And so I 100% love the clarity part. And you just made a statement that you said, man, are we overthinking this? Some people don't think this much into it. I think that's actually the good thing, right? The superpower, because so many people put so little effort on direction, clarity, and the mindset. But then I love that you tie the emotional part to it, because if all it is to make money, that is a fleeting goal that will leave tomorrow.
In real estate, there was no money showing up this year, so they would have been gone, right? So it was like, that's not why you're here. Why are you actually
Exactly.
here?
That's where the fleet is happening, right? It's the people who did not have something that anchored them to this. Because the minute, I mean, what did they say? There's that old military quote that war plans are great until the first sight of the enemy, right?
Yeah.
I think Mike Tyson said it better: is everyone has a plan to get punched in the face, right? And so that's the same thing, is everyone's got a plan. Obviously now those plans are getting tested. And so my last question for you, and then I know we'll go to the next one, is how have you helped your team? Because now in real estate, we're all getting punched in the face. So everyone has the plan. How has your conversation around the plan, around the emotional tie to it, and all that evolved during these difficult years? Because really, since end of 22, things have been tough, right? Since the interest rates have gone up.
Yeah.
So it definitely has been hard for more than a minute.
What do we do?
I think we've had a lot
those
of
weekly engagements with the team, and to me, showing up every day, following the rhythms, doing the one-on-ones with Nicole. She has that like nailed down. She actually coaches me. We have a meeting tomorrow, and it's the same time every single week. And we sort of geared the way that she was coaching me so it's repetitive with all of them. So we're going to replicate it over and over.
I think it's the making sure the consistency is there, because it's very easy to just fall back. Like it's a slow depression, right? It's a slow slide. Well, I'm not going to do, and then it's heavy to pick it up again, because like remember bowl back then, like the flywheel to get it going is really hard. Yeah. So right now it's just really hard. But if you can just the consistency and then the activity, if you can stay in activity, then you don't beat yourself up, and then the mindset won't be like, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's just
You're staying in motion,
showing up. A little bit less than before, and then the wins feel better, and then you just need a little bit to keep you going. And so it's kind of like just helping them find little wins and little things and celebrating. Like Kyle took a listing. He's like, well, it was just a piece of land. I was like, dude, you took a listing. Like that was exciting. Can we just celebrate the win? Like, let's keep the focus on actually winning instead of we want to win this, but it's like, a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer, they're all scores. Like it all adds up.
My gut is that the infrastructure you have is actually really powerful in a difficult market, because when the market's against your, the sales are against your back, like the wind's against your back. I mean, the infrastructure you guys have is helpful. It's not as noticeable when the market is easy, but when the market is difficult, they're like, wait, now.
I just pray that they'll hang on, because when it breaks loose and you're already doing this activity, I can't imagine the benefit they're going to get. They're going to
the idea of being 1 inch away from
gold,
and then you walk
I know.
away from it. And I tell people that all the time.
Trust me.
You fought through the most difficult part of this. I think we have some things that have changed that are going to start moving us in the right direction. So let's see what happens. Like just keep rolling a little bit. But I also tell some agents too, if you're going to do something else and keep your real estate as an option, Go do something that you're going to be able to apply to your real estate business going forward.
Right.
Go learn how to go work for a company that does social media. Go
Okay.
work for a company that does bookkeeping, so you can understand how to like add a skill to your playbook that you can, or add a skill to your
keeps you in the
repertoire that you
game.
can, so you can use it whenever you actually get back into the game 100%. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to hear more content, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. We post conversations around our podcast on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, we have real estate related conversations. And on Thursday, we showcase part of our Arena Collective story. If you want to learn how to be a better business person, this is where you'll find that content. Please like, subscribe, and follow us. We look forward to seeing you on our page.